I have spent quite a lot of money on playing cards, and today I'm going to show you what I've bought. Alright, so obviously this place is still very much under renovation, but I've managed to sort of stop the echo a little bit just by throwing a bunch of cushions in here. So today I'm going to be showing you my playing card collection. So seeing although there's no furniture, a beanbag is gonna have to do. Trust me, this place is gonna look cool once it's finished, but at the moment it is very, very barren. So where do we start with the cards then? I think we'll start with this one because this is quite an interesting one and quite a sort of personal one for me. This is 70 years old. This deck of cards is 70 years old. It belonged to my granddad and it has been passed down to me, and I take such good care of it. I love this deck so much. It's definitely the sort of prize of the collection just because of that personal thing. It's not a great deck of cards, you know, if we're talking by the numbers, by the design, all that sort of stuff, but personally, you know, I have so much connection to this deck. So this is the first deck of the collection. It's also a full deck, so in 70 years, not one single card has been lost from this. It doesn't have a box anymore though. On to the rest of the cards, the proper collection then. We will start with these 4 decks all at once because these are just the first ones at hand, and also they are some of my favourites. These are the Star Wars playing cards from Theory 11. I want to do a whole video just on these cards, taking a look back at them, maybe when the Mandalorian playing cards arrive. They are currently in the post. I might do a sort of retrospective look at all 5, then it will be, all 5 Star Wars decks. So here we go, they're just simply the silver special editions, these two, the white and the black, and then the red and the blue, the OG original Star Wars playing cards. Moving on to these 2 decks, these are by the Seers. This is, I think, Aspectu, and this is Latus. Very, very cool names, and very, very nice designs. The colours and the shapes really, really pop on these. So yeah, big fan of the Seers, and the Seers also are members of my Discord. So if you want to join the Discord, a bunch of magicians hang out there. We talk about cards, we talk about magic, we talk about cardistry, all those sort of things, and you can submit magic videos and I might react to them very soon. So they are a member of the Discord. So thank you, the Seers. Love these decks, need to use them a lot more actually. That has reminded me. Next up, we'll go for these, just because these are fairly obvious parts of the collection. These are the Madison playing cards. So we've got the black Charlie Madison cards right here. Big fan of this deck, and I've also got the white Charlie Madison to go with it, so there we go. I'm not really sure which one I prefer out of the 2. They're both very, very nice. I don't, as of yet, own any advocates. They're, again, all in the post on the way, so reviews when they arrive. These are the pink trawlers. One of my favourite Madison decks. I've done a whole video looking back, a little retrospective review of Madison cards, and I did say that these were my favourites. And I think I stand by that. They are a brilliant, brilliant design. And this is a little signed deck that was sent to me when I first got to know Madison. These are the remedies, the red remedies. Obviously now there are blue and green. So yeah, these are the sealed red remedies. I love this deck. I think this is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, another one of my favorites. I feel like I'm going to say that about a bunch of decks though, that this one is my favorite. But no, genuinely, I do really like that deck. Next up, I've got a couple of these. Where's the other one? There is it. Here we go. Okay, so these are the Ace Fulton Casinos. This is the pink and black edition. Wow, I really like this. It's actually got like an embossed tuck on it, really, really nice, and a sort of matte finish. This is more of a glossy finish, and while I think it's nice, it feels a lot less luxury than this one. Next up is a really, really simple one, Deck of Cards by Illusionist. That genuinely is the name of these cards, Deck of Cards by Illusionist, and they are almost completely blank. If you don't know what these cards are, the back design literally just says deck of cards, really, really small on each end, and the cards themselves, so this one's the 4 of diamonds, it literally just says on it 4 of diamonds. It is about as minimal as you can get apart from a completely blank deck. So yeah, technically it works as a deck of cards. I am yet to find a use for these. I really want to do some sort of mentalism thing with these. Like, you you know, imagining a card and starting with something so minimal and having them think of it, there's definitely a possibility here for something, but I've not quite worked out what yet. So that is Deck of Cards by Illusionist, a really funky minimal design. And talking of Illusionist, let's get some more Illusionist cards. So these right here are the Green Knights. I only own the green ones because I really like the look of the green ones. And if I show you the inside of the box, take a look at that. That is just absolutely fantastic. It's a chess themed deck, hence all of the sort of iconography you see around the outside. They are marked and they're very, very nice. The only thing I would say is that because the box is just so good, I mean, just take a look at all the shine on that box. When you open it and you take out the cards, it can be a little underwhelming, but I don't think that it's a bad deck of cards. Chris Ramsey is the King of Hearts in this deck. So those are the Green Knights, very respectable deck of cards. And talking of Chris Ramsey, these are his first two decks, but not first. There is first, but they're not his first. So these are Memento Mori and Carpe Noctem. Very much go together as a pair, and that sort of contrast between black and white really goes together. My favourite of the two is definitely Memento Mori. Here we have some Jerry's Nuggets. Now these are not, unfortunately, the original £600 Jerry's Nuggets. These are the reprints, the remakes, the sort of, I think it's 2019? Was that 2019 that they did that? No way was that 2 years ago. These are, yeah, 2019, Jerry's Nuggets, wow. So yeah, Jerry's Nuggets. What more can be said about them? I love this deck. There's something very satisfying about having a deck of cards based on a casino. I always think that adds a lot of realism to the deck, and to have Jerry's Nuggets is just fantastic. Remake or not, I really appreciate having Jerry's Nuggets at all. These are the Series 1800 playing cards. Sort of cracked old design. This deck is like not worn away at all, but it's designed to look like that, and they are marked. It's so well hidden. I mean, you as a magician could look at this for a while if you didn't know where the marking was, and you wouldn't be able to quite work it out, and yet when you know, it's like you can't help but see it. So yeah, it's fantastic. Okay, taking a slight little detour now away from my sort of traditional collection, which for most magicians and cardists are sort of poker size, you know, playing cards of a decent quality. I have this weird interest in really decks of cards. So I just like to collect like bridge size plastic coated, you know, all the sort of rubbish ones. There's something quite charming about them. So this one here is probably the cheapest deck in the collection. Peach Air. It's it's a deck of cards, I've just got to show you. It's a deck of cards that is made by a defunct airline called Peach Air. That is genuinely the back design. They are so terrible, these cards, but there's something so funny about that. I quite like this deck, unironically. I think that there's something a little bit retro about it. I mean, they're not terrible, actually. The more I they're not that bad. This is a deck from Russia. These are Russia playing cards that my girlfriend got me, actually, when she went to Russia, believe it or not. And these are card games. Round Europe and round Britain. Another card game here with a really sort of interesting packaging. Opens like a drawer, and this one's called Jack of All Trades. Oh, there's more stuff in here. The rules card. Look how old that is. I don't know how old these cards are, but that is pretty cool. And yeah, they're very, very, these are so sticky and like, it's like they've got rough and smooth all over them. Packaging is pretty decent. I wish that more decks of cards, you know, more standard ones, opened like this, because it actually really protects the cards. Like, although they're really old, they're in such good nick because this box is absolutely titanium strong. Got some bridge size Stratus playing cards. Interesting, don't really know what those are. We've also got some plastic coated bicycle cards. I bought these for a very specific trick that I meant to teach on the channel and I never got around to it, so I definitely will do that. These are Paris playing cards, completely sealed. This is a waterproof deck of cards, just again going down the line of unusual decks. These are completely waterproof, and I did try and do an underwater magic trick once with these, and it didn't go very well, so note to self, don't try that again. This looks like a bicycle deck of cards, but it's actually really, really interesting. So for instance, this first one is the Tower. We've got Strength, We've got the Invisible Man, and it's essentially just like a lot of random imagery, and I use it for a sort of tarot style trick, I guess. It plays a lot into mentalism. I also really like the images, and you're able to have them think of a card, and the card they think of, when you find it, or if they pick one and then you read their mind, there's so many possibilities, because that image just adds like an extra dimension. And for mentalism, if you want to go into some sort of fake, honest psychic reading, you know, not pretending to be psychic, but in the style of a psychic, then, you know, this just opens up so many gateways into like conversation, and because like mentalism is something I'm really interested in, obviously, but I also like to connect it back to playing cards in unusual ways, rather than just like having them think of a card and then knowing it, which is a brilliant effect, don't get me wrong, but there's only so many times you can do that. You need to have basically one way of doing that, or maybe two as a backup, and then the other ways, if you want to do mentalism with cards, just try and think outside the box. How can I use cards in a way that's not just them thinking of a card and me knowing it, or, you know, ambitious card, the same tricks over and over again. If you can do something different with cards, then I think that's really interesting for a spectator, because it's something that they won't have seen before. Not just for your own benefit to perform something different, but for your spectators. At the end of the day, we create magic and we perform magic for our spectators. So if we can give them an experience that is different to the other magicians they might have seen through something like that, then I think that's so important. So yeah, sorry for the little tangent there, it got deep. But it's something that I'm always thinking about, not just the methods and the effects, but the presentation is so above everything else for me, because that determines their experience. I could talk for hours on that, so I won't get sidetracked. We'll carry on with the collection, still a lot to get through. These are the Rome playing cards, again sent to me by a friend of the channel, Luke Swinkles, who has helped out in many different things. So thank you, Luke. And this is Aurora playing cards, again also sent by Luke. Shine. It's good that we've got sunlight in here, it's absolutely fantastic. A couple of slightly more ordinary decks of cards, not boring, but just ordinary. We've got Cohorts, and we've got Bicycle Inspire, both of which look quite standard. I don't think there's anything wrong with having just standard looking cards. You know, there's some good looking decks that we'll get onto, there's some absolutely beautiful ones, but every so often it's good to just have a standard deck. And I believe that Cohorts are marked, and I believe these are as well, so these are both marked, so very much aimed towards the magician. And if you throw it at a magician, then it's definitely aimed towards a magician. Terrible joke, moving on. We have RoboCycle playing cards. Again, quite a cheap looking design. I don't really know why I have these. Was this sent to me by Luke as well? Luke, how many decks did you send me? I think these were, so yeah, thanks Luke. Up next we got some Fontaines, the first Fontaines in this collection video, which for a magician's collection video is quite unusual, but this is actually the only deck of Fontaines that I own, because I'm not a massive collector of Fontaines. I like the design, I always really love their designs, I think they're very clever, but I never managed to get my hands on them, because I'm not quick enough and they always sell out, so that's a lesson that needs to be learnt. We've got some absolute classic old decks here. These are the Black Tigers, the OG Black Tigers. One of the first like designer decks of cards on the market, I'm pretty sure. These are so retro now, that is crazy. We also have these which look quite similar, but they're the Black Spiders. And I also have the Black Scorpions. And these three decks, I believe, were the first three decks that weren't just standard red or blue bicycles that I ever bought. So this kick-started all of the decks that you've seen in this video, was these right here. And these are the Black Ghosts, another illusionist classic. Yep, the White Ghosts, here we go. Black and White Ghosts. I much prefer the White Ghosts. I think the Black Ghosts are just too similar to everything else. That's sort of the black bicycle theme. You know, there's only so many times you can make the bicycle design black before they all start to look the same. So I much prefer the white ones just because I think it's so much more dazzling. I really like white playing cards. I think that they nearly always look absolutely fantastic. So yeah, those are the sort of retro OG designer decks. Another sort of weird, crappy deck of cards. I say crappy, but maybe that's a bit harsh. Bridge size, plastic coated, you know, the non-standard decks that normal magicians don't like. There is a squirrel, sorry to interrupt, there is a squirrel absolutely going berserk I mean, to be fair, I'm not used to filming out here, but a squirrel just basically did a backflip. That's what I just saw. This is a Norway deck of cards, 55 views from Norway, and I've not opened this, so I need to open these. So we've got Russia, we've got Paris, we've got Norway, all these different location decks. And I also have London. Here it is, over the other side of the room for some reason. These are the London London Underground playing cards. Because in my old studio, I had a London Underground poster, so this was bought for me to match that, essentially, because I really like the design of the London Underground. Unfortunately, these are bridge size and plastic coated. What I would love is for a company like, let's say, Theory 11, someone who does like these trademark decks. I don't know if the London Underground is trademarked, but imagine like a London Underground Theory 11 mashup. That would be amazing. I just imagine the box, all this like gold foiling of all the different tube lines and the stations and stuff. I reckon it would look amazing. So that is something for the future. But for now, this is a pretty good alternative, a London Underground themed deck. And we also have a Jack Daniels themed deck. Oh, I wish I had like a Coca-Cola themed deck. There will be one. And then I could like have a JD and Coke mashup trick. There must be a trick in that somewhere. These are Theory 11, talking of Theory 11, these are Darren Brown playing cards. Darren Brown, one of my biggest idols, someone who inspired me so much to get into mentalism, just seeing his shows. If you've not watched any of Darren Brown, then you just need to. That's all I'm going to say. I know you probably get a lot of recommendations to see magicians, but if you've not seen Darren Brown, you're absolutely missing out. So yeah, Darren Brown. These are a really unusual deck. They're designed to look like a book, so if you imagine these are the pages and this is the spine, you can sort of see what I'm getting at. Greenkeepers, another really workable deck of cards. And this is a deck I got at Blackpool 2017, I believe. Well, it says 2017 on the box, so I'm assuming it is. And we've got some more Illusionists. These are the Marbles playing cards. Again, really dazzling colours, but maybe a bit too much in this deck. Not a huge fan of it. I think it's trying too hard, unfortunately, but it's a good concept. This is a fantastic deck of cards, the Lady Moon playing cards. Absolutely beautiful. All of the court cards are female, which is unusual. I've never really seen that before, but the box is just one of the most dazzling things. The foil and all that sort of stuff, and of course, it's an Art of Play deck, so what more can I say? We've got the BOD playing cards from my last video. Won't go into that too much because there's 2 videos on it now. And then the last one, I think this is the last one in the collection, is this. Don't really know who these are by, but I guess they're okay. This is the Dystopian deck by me, and there we go. That wraps up the collection video. Again, apologies for the lighting and the sound in here. It's not finished off. Please let me off. This will all be sorted. But I just wanted to film in here because what an incredible space. Somehow, during this video, I've managed to give myself a paper cut. I don't know how has that happened. I've not even been handling the cards. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please click the thumbs up button down below, and you can also subscribe as well. If you are new and you've never seen a video from me before, you can check out some of my other videos as well. They'll be linked in a minute. And the best way of interacting with this video, if you want to help the channel, is by leaving a comment. So please comment away, even if that comment is just the word banana. Yeah, I think that's everything. So I will see you very soon for another video.
I think you're gonna have to be. We're gonna have to go very soon. And soft.